Hello everyone. I invite you to continue the series of calm reflections on the book Nosso Lar by André Luiz, a spiritual story about life after death, responsibility, and the gradual maturation of consciousness through work. Chapter 40 is titled, As You Sow, So Shall You Reap. It is one of the most moving and spiritually profound chapters in this part of the book. It does not describe major events or dramatic rescue missions. Instead, it reveals something very important: the law of cause and effect, the law of responsibility for our actions, and the possibility of repairing the past through love, humility, and service. This chapter also marks a very personal moment of transformation for André Luiz. For the first time, he directly encounters the consequences of mistakes he made during his earthly life. One day, André Luiz feels a strong desire to visit the women's ward of the Chambers of Regeneration. He cannot explain where this inner impulse comes from. When he mentions it to Narcissa, she calmly replies that in spiritual life there are rarely coincidences. If a thought arises in the heart with good intention, it may be a subtle indication of divine guidance. Every situation may become an opportunity for learning or for fulfilling an important task. André therefore goes to the ward where women who have come from difficult spiritual experiences are being cared for. The sight is very similar to what he has already seen in the men's section. Many of these souls are in a state of deep suffering. They are weakened, confused, and need time to regain balance after passing through the lower spiritual regions. While walking through the pavilion, André's attention is drawn to one of the women. Her face carries deep sadness and the marks of premature exhaustion. At first he cannot recognize her. But suddenly his memory connects the pieces. It is Elisa, the same woman he once knew in his youth on earth. The encounter deeply shakes André. Elisa had once been a young girl who worked in his family's home. She came from a poor background and had been hired as a domestic worker. Over time, an inappropriate closeness developed between her and the young André. A relationship that crossed moral boundaries and ultimately led to suffering. Although the event faded from André's memory over the years, for Elisa it had serious consequences. Her life eventually followed a path filled with disappointment, illness, and loneliness. Now André stands before her once again. But no longer as a careless young man. He stands as a spirit beginning to understand responsibility for his actions. He feels shame and deep remorse. He realizes that this meeting is not accidental. It is an opportunity to repair the past. Seeing his inner turmoil, Narcissa explains something very important. In spiritual life, everyone gathers the fruits of what they once sowed. This is not a punishment. It is the law of harmony of the universe. Good produces good. Evil produces suffering. Yet the greatest blessing for a soul is the moment when it is given the opportunity to repair its mistakes. Debtors who are able to repay their debts are, in truth, fortunate. André approaches Elisa and begins to speak with her. She tells him the story of her life. She speaks of poverty, youthful illusions, and a life that gradually turned into a chain of disappointments. She speaks of illness, abandonment, and years of suffering. Eventually she mentions the man who played an important role in her fate. She speaks the name André. This moment is extremely painful for him. Yet Elisa does not speak of him with hatred. She explains that she once felt anger toward him. But with time she realized that the responsibility had been shared. Through spiritual help she learned to forgive. Her heart no longer lives in hatred. Hearing these words, André can no longer hide his emotions. He tells her that his name is also André. However, he does not reveal the full truth immediately. Instead, he promises to help her and to remain by her side as a friend. He tells her that from now on she may consider him a spiritual brother. At that moment, a small ray of joy appears on Elisa's face. This scene becomes one of the most symbolic moments in André Luis's entire journey. It shows that the past does not simply disappear. Our actions leave marks in the lives of others. But spiritual growth means learning to repair those mistakes. Not through despair, but through love, service, and responsibility. Chapter 40 reminds us of several important truths. That every action in our lives has consequences. That the law of cause and effect operates both in the material and the spiritual worlds. That even small mistakes may influence the lives of others. But it also reminds us that there is always the possibility of repair. Divine mercy offers the soul new opportunities for growth and reconciliation. This is a very quiet chapter, yet profoundly deep. It shows that true transformation begins when a person is able to recognize their own mistakes. And when, instead of escaping responsibility, they choose to repair what was once broken. And it leaves us with an important question. Are we able to look at our own lives with courage? And repair what we once did wrong? In the next chapter, André Luiz will continue discovering the spiritual laws that guide life in the colony. The journey continues. See you soon.